We wait a moment. Okay. Hi, my name is Matti Nelimarkka, and I'm from the Maths department in Päivälä College, and I'm here to tell about the MUPE. So let's first have a look. What is MUPE? So MUPE is multi-user publishing environment, and it's a client-server architecture, and it's developed by Nokia, Nokia Research Center, and I think that it's mainly developed because of it provides easy way to create fast, rapid prototypes of game ideas or application ideas. And it's totally open source under the Nocos license. The Nocos license is like Mozilla license. You must not share your contribution, so it's non-sticky license, and you can get everything what Nokia creates and is is open source. You can use it in your projects and create money. And let's go a little bit more about what is MUPE. So it's fully programmed on Java. This creates the thing that the client is on MIPE Java and the server runs on desktop Java. And it should be really platform independent. So the client may run on Ericsson phone, Motorola phone, Nokia phone, or some PDA. And the server runs on Windows, Linux, Solaris, Macintosh. And also in Finnish, Java is the usual teaching language in most universities. So the first year student can enough Java to program with MUPE. And there's also MUPE XML called scripting language, which is almost like HTML. So there's some basic UI scripting and also some really easy coding, for loops, while loops, which can be done on the client side with the MUPE XML. And all modifications are mainly done on the server. You should never touch the client, and this makes it easy to bug fix, because if you find the bugs, you only fix it to the server and then test again with these clients, and you don't need to install to the client again software to the client. Sorry about my English, it's quite poor, as you may hear. And here's a detailed picture of the MUPE system. So there's 4 parts: MUPE client, MUPE core, MUPE server, and context producer. I'll speak a bit of all these. The MUPE client is programmed on MIPE2, and as I earlier said, you should never do modifications to it, but you may if you want to easy the graphics download or put some resources ready into the MUPE client. You can do it, but this causes a big problem because everyone else who access the server has not the same resources. So that's the reason why it's suggests from the developers that do not touch it. The MUPE core is 1 YAR file that makes system easy to upgrade, and it contains network connection parts of the server client architecture. The MUPE server is the first part where you really have to touch. You create your own server content to the MUPE server. And then there's also context producer. So if we want to use sauna temperature to our adventure game as some attribute, we can create it by using outside context producer to bring the data to the MUPE server and use it there. I now have to mention that I have never seen context producer in use, but there is this ability to use it. Now I promised to tell about strengths and weakness. So first, the strengths. The main point of MUPE is that in coding project, there are some parts that are used many times, like TCP/IP connections, Bluetooth accessing in mid-phone, camera usage, GPS usage, Vibra usage. So why should these routines be every time written again? So let's not invent the wheel again. Let's use wheel what we got. And sorry. I'll give an example. So if we have 2,000 hours on the project, it doesn't matter if we use 2,000 hours to create the TCP/IP connections and the framework. But if we have 3,000 hours for the project, then it's really critical if we have to use 2,000 if we have 300 hours on the project and we use 200 to the coding, then it's more sticky because we have only 100 hours to the real application development. On MUPE, you can first develop the application 150 hours, do some field testing, bug testing, 50 hours, fix the bugs you have found, 50 hours, and do again a bug testing. So let's think which way is the wiser way to use the 3,000 hours that have been given to the project. And because this is a client-server architecture, we have only one client but many servers where you can connect. This makes testing quite easy because I can call someone who has a MUPE client and say, can you please connect to this IP address? I have a server running there, but I don't know if it's my phone that fails or the code. And then he can do it. And there's no exchange between, no YAR files, nothing. And one poverty is also that minor bug fixes, like I need to move this text 5 pixels that way. It's really annoying when you have to do these minor fixes, but customers in programming projects are like that, that they want to fix UI a bit. And on MUPE, you can do it when the customer is looking you and say that, okay, it's done, it took 1 minute. And then it's there, but on mid-project you have to change it, it takes a minute, and then build it takes about a minute, and then send it to the client, it takes about 2 minutes. So it's not so instant. And now when I have speak of the MUPE, any questions at the moment? None? Okay. I have some application examples that I would like to raise. So, I forgot totally the weaknesses. So, MUPE is still a developing platform which causes some troubles. So there are always bugs, and it's really annoying when you look at code and think, is this me or is it the MUPE? Also developers, there are developers, also Yle uses MUPE, but they are not so active on the forums. And this causes also with the fact that there are bugs, it's really annoying sometimes to develop MUPE. And the MUPE core team at NRC, Nokia Research Center, should be more active to tell that we are going to release this client. It has these features coming, because I have sometimes done really seed hacking to create some system, and the next client had it pulled in, and it's quite annoying when you get the next client on your hands and, well, it has pulled in. And then the major weakness also, which is in all mobile platforms, on Symbian and on MIPE, is that they have differences, and this causes problems because there's code part that works on one mobile phone and doesn't work on some other. So currently we have the situation that the MUPE client 231 alpha worked for the main developer of MUPE client, but it failed on everyone other who tested it. And it's troubleful then to say that this is buggious when the developer said that I tested it and it works for me. And now, when I have also said some words of the weaknesses, let's look at the applications. So the first application is Assassin, which is a picture-taking game where you try to assassin the one you take a picture. And the key features of this is that there's built-in chat, built-in camera usage, and built-in push of the image you have snapped from the enemy to the enemy, who must say if it's his or her picture. And if I remember correctly, this is developed by the Tampere University of Technology. Then Constellations is a location-based strategy game which has a space theme, and they use Java's location API to look up where the user is, and a planet for him at that spot is created. And then when user moves, he can spot other people's planet or spot new places of planets. And I don't know so much of this because I haven't tested it even. Then MUPE Dungeon, which is an adventure game where spellcasting is used by Bluetooth, audio, and image. They are all upcoming features, and I could mention that the MUPE Dungeon currently is not working because of some reason. I only know that Nokia Research Center Tampere is fixing it someday. And here I would like to mention that we use heavy audio and image handling algorithms like foreign analysis for the audio, and they never could be run on the mobile device because there's not enough memory. But when we send the data to server has enough memory and enough power, so it's not a big deal if we use these algorithms. And then fast mini games that there's about 10 to 15 seconds to play these mini games, one at a time. And this is demo of a new game concept that was created. And the idea of bringing this towards, there's no special technology in this, but it's but the thing that we can create easy prototype and show it to our boss and say that give us a bit more money, I will do it better and do it so that it works really. That's the point of MUPE. Then these were all games, and then there's also some applications done with MUPE. The first is MUPE GUI, which is a groupware created with MUPE. Here all the items, all the context is also put to the internet using Java EO system. So, because there's server side, we can use everything that we can get from Java. Then the Sleep Diary, which is a diary software with Symbian 60 look and feel. Here we also store entries using Java EO, but it could be also done by putting data to MySQL database or PostgreSQL database, or using some really generic data input system. So the point is that we can use everything that Java has. And also here we have the Symbian 60 look and feel, which was also one main purpose of this project. So it looks and feels really like Symbian 60. You can come here and come to our MUPE place. I'll tell more about it later and try it. But you can create Symbian 60 lookalike applications with MUPE if you want, if you don't have the time to get known with Symbian C++. And what's our role in the assembly? Oh, not yet, sorry. What can be done? Here is a generic hello world example, and it uses 3 lines of code. And I looked at the Opera widgets. They had, was it 6 or 5 lines of code? And MUPE uses 30 lines of code to create an easy hello world. And I even don't know what the Symbian 60, Symbian C++ needs to create a hello world. So this is an example that if we want, we can create really fastly something. Then the next example uses Bluetooth system. So it's quite short, thinking that it uses client device system and then pushes the device discovery to the server. It's the gesend line on the PowerPoint slide. But from the first line, we first load a plugin. Then we start a timer, which is like a timer. It runs every 45th second, and it runs for forever. And this timer calls device discovery. And when the device discovery is done, the discovery string will be sent to the server. And what server will do something like this. The first parameter, user color, tells us that who called this. We can get his name or ID or some data of him to the basis. And the second parameter, string dev, is the string of all found devices on the device discovery. And the dev string is coded, has some spaces in the middle of 2 devices, and Bluetooth addresses and names are also separated by slash. So that's why there's some some really ugly looking code done to the dev string. And the last line of real code, red equals plus equals get dynamic XML. So that code goes back to XML file with parameters given and gets the XML file and adds it to the return string. This creates the thing that we can, everything that has something to do with UI is put it into XML files, and everything else is on the Java side. This is generic rule that should not be broken. And the last example is how to take a photo. Here is one line of code that creates a photo snapping screen, and it's sent it to the server using the given reference. I don't know so much of this, but usually I'm quite sure that in MUPE, if we create this, or with Symbian, if we create this, it's not as easy as putting one line of code to an XML file. And then it was XML file. Here's what's done on the server side. This is a private method in the server side. So we have to first create some public method with user color and string, image string parameters, and it has to have a prefix code client. And then there's used just regular input-output of the Java. And now to the assembly thing. So we have a development team here 24 hours a day and during the whole assembly event. And we'll develop an application from an idea of some of you. And the application may use snapping picture or Bluetooth. It's not required. And the one idea we choose to be the best idea. We have only 2 days time to implement it. So we try also to show that this is quite rapid way to create demos. And of course, because this is a competition, we have a prize given to the inventor. And the idea must be in our inbox by in 1 hour, I think. 1 hour, okay, and the email address is mupeteam@ski.fi. Please send your ideas because this is the easiest way to get a new mobile phone. And as I mentioned, more information is on the assembly website, and please read the rules carefully. There's one part that says that all ideas are Nokia's property after they have been sent, but I have spoken with Nokia people and they say that all ideas will be open source after the assembly, and I'll personally take care that they will be published on the MUPE.net webpage. And also you should be more than 18 to participate, or if you are less than 18, call your parent, call your legal guardian, and ask him that this is okay, and then write his name on the email too. And the developing of it, so the team is located between doors 115 and 116. And you may visit us. We have there someone all the time, and we have some MUPE things on the arena. You can also follow them, and we have demos up and running. You can come there, try those, and say your ask more questions. And also, if you like the idea of MUPE here, you can start your own MUPE developing, and I can almost promise, because we have so few people here, that some sort of support during the assembly will be provided by the MUPE team, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so we can give some support for the MUPE developers of this seminar. And MUPE forums are also up at www.mupe.net, and they will be answered by real MUPE developers. And we have unofficial IRC channel on the Freenode network, and a word of the developing environment, because it's not mentioned clearly enough on the MUPE webpage. Use Eclipse and Wireless Toolkit. Don't try anything else. And I think that was all. Any questions, comments? Okay. Japsu asked me if the sleep diary example I had, is it a seat hacks, and what about the icon on the left corner? And first of the icon, the icon comes because of MIPE, and one of the developers said that they cannot easily done anything for it. And the code is quite basic, I think. I have many wrote in it, and there are graphic elements that are shown on when the cursor is on. That creates most of the Symbian 60 look and feel. And then some other parts are also, but it's not a built-in feature if that's what you try to ask. More questions? Well, I'll head back to the MUPE place and start reading my emails. Hopefully I get some ideas and also start development work. Thanks.